The briefing room aboard the Galactic Survey vessel Orantia. The temperature on Kelarath 4 was minus 112 degrees Fahrenheit, and Professor Vexlin didn't care who knew it. He stood at the holographic display, his three-jointed fingers tracing the swirling white storms of the ice planet below. Vexlin was Dorothy, a species whose pale, ridged skin had evolved over millennia to absorb heat from twin suns. He found the concept of humans in cold climates philosophically offensive. "I have reviewed every biological report," he announced to the assembled crew, his amber eyes sweeping across the 12 human volunteers seated in the briefing room. "You are warm-blooded, fragile, and deeply unimpressive in low-temperature environments. Your survival window on the surface without external heating is 17 minutes. The construction of adequate shelter would require no less than 4 hours using your primitive tools." He folded all 4 of his arms. "The colonization proposal is rejected." Lieutenant Marcus Webb, a geologist from northern Alaska, raised his hand. "Professor, with respect, have you ever heard of an igloo?" Vexlin blinked his third eyelid, the Dorothy equivalent of a scoff. "A dome of frozen water. Yes, I have read about it. Theoretically, it could provide insulation. However, the construction timeline alone disqualifies it. No human could build one before hypothermia sets in." Marcus leaned back in his chair and smiled slowly. "Give me 10 minutes. The surface of Kelarath 4. The airlock hissed open, and the cold hit Marcus like a wall of glass. He wore only a thermal base layer, no heated suit, no exoskeleton frame. The entire Dorothy science team watched from inside the vessel through reinforced viewports, their expressions unreadable. Professor Vexlin stood closest to the glass, arms crossed in all 4 places, a data pad recording every second. The wind screamed at 60 kilometers per hour. The snow on Kelarath 4 was different from Earth's snow, denser, almost crystalline, packed hard by the planet's brutal gravity. Marcus had noticed that the moment they'd landed. It was, he realized, almost perfect. He dropped to one knee and pressed his gloved palm into the surface. Solid. Cohesive. Good. He pulled a single collapsible snow saw from his belt, the only tool he'd brought. Then he started cutting. The blocks came out clean and even, each one the length of his forearm. His hands moved with muscle memory built across 32 Alaskan winters, cutting and stacking in a rising spiral. He didn't think about the cold gnawing at his cheeks or the burning in his fingers. He thought only about the angle of each block, the slight inward tilt, the way the dome was already beginning to close above him like a slow exhale. 6 minutes in, he was inside the half-finished structure, working from the interior, the wind already muffled into a low moan. His breath came in rapid clouds that fogged and settled. Block. Tilt. Press. Block. Tilt. Press. At the 9-minute mark, he placed the keystone, the final block trimmed to a precise wedge, fitted into the apex of the dome from the inside, locking the entire structure together. It held. The dome didn't shudder. Marcus carved a small entrance tunnel with 4 quick cuts, crawled through, and stood outside in the howling storm. He pressed the calm button on his collar. 9 minutes, 40 seconds, he said. "And it's warmer in there than your briefing room." The viewports. Inside the Orantia, nobody moved. Vexlin stared at the small, perfectly formed dome standing motionless against a planet that should have made it impossible. The storm raged around it. The dome did not care. One of his junior researchers, a young Dorothy named Pellick, quietly deleted the colonization rejection from the shared database. Vexlin set down his data pad. He had spent 40 years studying sentient species across 11 star systems. He had cataloged the Myrati, who could breathe methane. He had observed the Valen, who navigated using magnetic fields in their skulls. He thought he had seen every biological advantage a species could possess. He had not considered that knowledge, passed down across 10,000 years of brutal winters, could function as a biological advantage. That a technique older than human spaceflight could defeat a planet that defeated everything else. He pressed the calm. "Lieutenant Webb." Marcus's voice crackled through the storm. "Still here, Professor." Vexlin was quiet for a long moment. "I would like," he said finally, his translator struggling slightly with the admission, "to be shown how that was done."